Good morning, happy Monday, and welcome to the number one Group of Five college football podcast in the world. This is the Group of Five guys, and our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, the voice that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to be. We need your help to do that. We need you to hit the follow button on all the social platforms at Group of Five guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a 5-star rating and a review. Most importantly, tell your family and friends all about us, or you can download the Varsity app for free and listen to the show on there. On this episode, we try to remain calm as we react to the Heisman ceremony. We're going to talk Army, Navy. We're going to talk bowl games and plenty more. Hope you enjoy the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round. Like, that's incredible. That's the wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the Group of Five.
Yeah, I really appreciate you do for the Group of Five programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this. But you guys are on the forefront of this, and
so I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of Five because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
Jeff, I have a feeling this show might get a bit animated. So normally I like to start off with a headline, get the show started. But before I forget, because I'll forget, I'm going to get fired up here today. We got to talk Decker Great Coffee, Jeff. Check that mug today, huh?
Nice. Little
Little-
Christmas
it
reindeer.
says- well, you can't really see it. It can't focus in. It says "I believe" right there. A little Christmas reindeer. This is the Cosmic Christmas, but you guys know the deal. Look, Decker Gray's been riding with us all season long. We've been riding with them. Anybody in the chat that has made the purchase and gotten the coffee can attest. It's damn good coffee. DeckerGray.com. Use our promo code GOFG for 10% off plus free shipping. He's got a subscription model on there now. So if you're, a coffee drinker, you can just keep it coming every month or however long it takes you to get through it. But DeckerGray.com, promo code GOFG. Now, Jeff, you ever been in high school and in homecoming court happening? You always, I don't know what it's like in 2024. There ain't no telling who wins the thing, but it was always like typically the QB and the hottest chick in school, right?
Yep, that's accurate.
Now, were you the homecoming king, Jeff
I
Murphy?
was.
Really? See,
I
now
was.
what I did is I campaigned for our guy. I was walking
I didn't
around
do it.
making sure everybody voted.
I didn't do any of it.
That's interesting.
But yes,
well,
you are. Well, that's what it used to be.
Now there's no telling, dude. I
20
think I
years.
can tell
God,
you.
20 years. Jeez.
Yeah, but
I'm old.
Not quite 20, about 15.
Yeah, you're right.
16.
Yeah, I'm a few years too much. Anyway,
It's like a 20. Is it 21 or 22 Jump Street when they go back to high school and he thinks he's cool, but he's like he's the jock and they don't like him.
Yeah.
He's driving like the muscle car or whatever.
Mhm.
I think that's probably pretty accurate. I would venture to say. I'm not sure. Maybe not.
I would agree.
Everybody still loves a jock. But anyway, Jeff, what we witnessed come to fruition on Saturday with the Heisman. And I want to make it clear, right? Because everybody's saying that we're downplaying what Travis Hunter did or the season he had, and I'm not. The problem is when you're comparing two people, you almost have to do that. You almost have to say why one, candidate is bad and the other one is good, right? Remind you of politics again, Jeff.
Yes, it does.
But what we had was, I flipped it on ESPN like an hour before, and as I flipped it on, there's like a 5 or 10 minute Travis Hunter special happening on SportsCenter, showing all his top plays going on, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And here I'm thinking, what an idiot. Here I'm thinking they're going to do that for all the candidates. Oh no, just Travis Hunter. And then it reminded me of all season long, right? That our main sports network that we are all forced to watch ran a Heisman campaign for one guy all season long. And that's what we witnessed come to fruition on Saturday. Because, again, we've said it over and over and over and over again. Like, yeah, playing both ways, that is very impressive. Very impressive. But we're talking about an all-time season here. Like, again, yes, it's impressive to play both ways, but none of his numbers or production on either side of the ball were Heisman worthy compared to a guy that's about to set the all-time rushing record. All-time rushing record. Not the best this year, not the best in his conference for this year, but all-time. And we witnessed a popularity contest is exactly what happened. And I don't care what anybody says. If Genty had any power forward jersey on, he wins that thing in a landslide, going away. And I'll also say, on the other hand, if Travis Hunter wears a jersey and is coached by anybody other than Coach Prime, which, look, again, I'll give credit, right? We get up here all the time and we talk about branding, right? We talk about you got to have the brand. Otherwise, you're not going to, the media is going to look past you. The committees are going to look past you. What Coach Prime and Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter have done at Colorado is they have created a monster in branding. And that's why every time they win a game, they find themselves in the rankings. That's why every time Travis Hunter has a catch, It's the greatest catch of all time, and we see it over and over and over again on SportsCenter. That's why every time Shedeur Sanders flashes his watch in the air, we see it all the time and we highlight it. That's what they've done. So again, if you take him out of that, it's not even a conversation. It's not even a conversation. And in typical fashion, our national media just fell right for it and played right into it. So that's my 2 cents on it, Jeff.
I mean, there was multiple robberies over the weekend when you're talking about awards. And I know we talked about it last week, but it started off with Shedeur getting Travis Hunter getting the Blitnikoff Award when Nick Nash led all receivers in the country.
The Triple Crown.
In the top 3 categories for a receiver. Did that with multiple quarterbacks throughout the year. That's the thing that I think people aren't talking about. It's not like he had a Shedeur Sanders throwing him the ball all year. He had multiple guys because of injuries, because of inconsistencies at that position, and still was able to do it. But yet, that doesn't matter. Let's give it to Travis Hunter. So he wins that, right? So that primes it up. And then, no pun intended, primes it up. And then you get to the Heisman where, I mean, just from start to finish, it was a Travis Hunter, slob session. And for lack of a better terms. And here's the deal. Like, what is the award? Like, let's stop calling it the Heisman, because it's not the Heisman anymore. It's not the best college football player. Ashton Jeanty was being compared to the greatest running back, college running back, some say professional running back of all time. And he's going to break that record. Like, if that wasn't it enough, he leads the running back position at all statistics. He has more rushing yards after contact than like half of all the teams out there in college football. Like, it's mind blowing. It's absolutely mind blowing that people are like, oh, Travis, well done. And you know what? I'm not even knocking Travis. Great player. It is incredibly hard to play one position, let alone two. But he's not the greatest receiver. He's not the greatest corner. He didn't will his team to a conference championship berth, championship win, or college football playoff. He didn't do any of those. And I'm just sitting here watching this and looking on social media, and all these people are falling for it. I'm just like, put on the tape. Put on the tape, back it up with stats, compare. At this point, you have to compare every single thing because it's down to the wire. And then you just look at the ceremony, and it was just a Colorado, Travis Hunter, Lil Wayne. Like, come on, give me a break. It had nothing to do with the play on the field or the stats to back it up. So it's a popularity contest. That's what it was. Oh, we lost Sprouse. Well, I guess we're going solo, boys and girls. Yeah, so it was just really frustrating to, see the Heisman shake out like that. But I don't know. I shouldn't be that surprised. But the one point I will make, and if I had to pick what I want to happen, like, Jeanty deserves the Heisman, no question. But if you don't think for 1 second that him not getting this Heisman, and he said it himself, this pours gasoline on a fire that was already burning, and I'm ready for the college football playoff. I hope he comes out like a man possessed, like nobody's going to be able to take him down, because he was robbed. It was clear as day. But Jeanty's still playing for something. So, Sprouse, do we got your back?
I hope so.
Hold on. We got to get your video in here. Hold on. All right, there we go. We got you back.
You got me, Jeff?
Yep.
Well, hell, I've been sitting here talking. I thought we lost you. I've been sitting here going on a monologue.
Disappeared.
Jeez. Yeah, Jeff, a couple things you talked about. You mentioned Lil Wayne, and that to me said it all, right? First of all, every other candidate. First of all, they saved Travis Hunter.
I was waiting for Darian Mensah to come out with his agency.
Yeah, with the agency. Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. You know, at first this is so bad. As I'm watching it, the first three candidates go up there, right? They all go up on stage, mom and dad, both of them. Then they go into the audience, talk to their coach for a second, and I was really ready to come on here and to go on Twitter and talk about how cool it was that all four candidates had, both mom and dad on the stage. I thought, you know what, man, that's pretty cool. Like, I don't know. I haven't typically been as invested, right, in the Heisman as I am this year. So I thought that was cool. And then look, I realized like Travis Hunter's dad is in a situation where he couldn't go, but it's like Lil Wayne. That's who we got in the front row. And then to me, he's up there and he's like, I didn't even know your music. Why is this guy in the, like, just, what are we doing? What are we doing? I can't, it just felt, I don't know, man. The whole thing just felt like manufactured. I don't even know where to go with it, Jeff.
I mean, it's a popularity contest. That's what it boils down to. And it's just sad that our society, the media, nobody's got like a shred of like, I don't even know what you call it, integrity anymore.
Yeah.
Like we've just boiled it down to what gets the most clicks. Clicks turn into views turn into dollars. And
right.
we're going to put all this aside and give it to this guy who, like, yes, they're both deserving of the award. All four of them, really. But the winner was Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah.
Hands down.
And yeah, you're right. One last thing on it for me is you're exactly right, because every media member that votes, and who the hell knows who and how they get a vote, because I saw some people on Twitter like, here was my ballot. And I'm like, how the hell does this guy get a vote? Here's my ballot. And I'm like, why? Like, what's the process? You know what I mean? And I'm saying on both people that voted Jeanty too. Like, I'm not saying just Hunter. And then you have the scenario where there was like 23 ballots that didn't even get filled out. How can you have?
Were they from Maricopa County?
They might still be counting them. Maybe they're from Broward County and there's a hanging Chad.
Collusion.
They get. But yeah, how do you get 23 voters for the most prestigious award in football and they don't even vote? And then you have the people, right? Like, whatever. I think guys like Bryson Daly and Curtis Rourke, like, they had great seasons. But like, he had like Cam Scatterbo get a couple of first place votes. He had Curtis Rourke get a first place vote. And I'm just thinking, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's
like when people vote for the third party.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's like. That's exactly what it's like. Because, and actually, if you look at it, Jeanty was on more ballots overall. Now, again, how you have any ballots that don't have Jeanty or don't have Hunter in the top four is kind of proof that it's like a very biased deal. But you're exactly right, Jeff. Every one of those media members that gets to write an article about Travis Hunter knows that article is going to get more clicks than an Ashton Jeanty Boise State article, which brings me to my next point, because my God, I've never seen so many Colorado bots and burner accounts ever. I've never seen, anytime you even mention Jeanty with anything, they come out of nowhere. It's like they've followed anytime you type Jeanty in, or anytime you type Heisman in, and they just come out of the woodworks. And then I'm like, dang, this guy, who's this guy? Oh, 3 followers, doesn't have a picture. Oh, this guy, 7 followers, doesn't have a picture. I'm thinking, is that what pushed Hunter over the edge? A bunch of burners and bots?
Probably.
I mean,
well,
I don't know, frustrating.
Sprouse, it kind of dives into the next point that we need to talk about: integrity. Changing transfer portal windows. Marshall has to opt out of the bowl game against Army because I think they're over 40 now players in the transfer portal. I mean, what we can do? But I mean, you got to change the window, right? That's to me, that's the only fix.
Well, Jeff, I don't know. I put out my manifesto of fixing college football over a year ago, and a lot of people didn't like it. But again, what's the big topic, right? This offseason, and this is where I think change will happen, because the teams and the conference that feels like they got robbed for this playoff. What's the topic? Non-conference scheduling, right? Now, I love a good non-conference game, but do you got to have 3 or 4 of them? I don't know. Can you not? We started playing games, halfway through August now, so we can call it week 0 for some reason instead of just making it week 1. I don't never understood that either. But if you had the season end, like I've been saying for a long time, if Thanksgiving weekend was conference championship weekend, so you just bumped it up, or you just bump it up 1 week. Number one, when do all these distractions and portals and coaching changes happen? Right about then.
Yeah.
Right? So, you maybe take away 1 or 2 non-conference games, bump the season up a week. Championship weekend is Thanksgiving weekend. And boom, you start playoff games in December. And you can play the national championship on New Year's, if it's the way it is right now. You get a bye week, you don't play till second week of it, so you get a 2 weeks off. If you're in the conference championship, you don't get a bye week, you're playing the next week. Season's over, January 1. Now, let's open the portal. I know everybody's going to say, oh, well, but Sprouse, they got to enroll in the spring semester. Guys, I got some really bad news. If you think, first of all, that's not true, because these guys are getting in the portal and committing all year long. Yeah. It's not like this is this one portal window. But guys, the guys that are transferring for money probably ain't going to class, just so you're aware, which I'm waiting for that to happen too, by the way. These guys that have been at 3, 4, 5 schools, like, how are their transcripts transferring with them?
I have no idea.
Because I know I had a damn entire year worth of brutal classes from the Air Force Academy, and not damn one of them transferred to Middle Tennessee. How's that working out?
Well, it doesn't even factor in.
Yeah, they don't care
anymore. They don't care.
But yeah,
I feel bad for Army.
Yeah, me too. And Army
win the American, and this is your prize. Luckily, one of the greatest Group of 5 conferences in the country stepped up, and you got the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs coming in to save the day. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, tough for Army. Again, although they did not look very good on Saturday, so that it was cool. It was set up. You were going to have Army versus Marshall, and you're going to have Ohio versus Jacksonville State. All 4 of the conference champions that didn't make the playoff were all going to play each other. So, now you don't get that. But can I say I'm getting reminded of stuff, Jeff, because somebody tweeted, why don't we have all 4 conference champions that didn't make the playoff play in bowl games, to a solution to making bowl games more meaningful? And I was like, they are. They are playing like again, and it reminds me to go back to the Heisman. It's like anytime you post something on Genty, people are saying like, well, that game wasn't on national TV. Like nobody's watching. And it's like, yeah, that's the point here.
Yeah.
You guys have these big, bold opinions, and you've never watched them play. And their games were on national television, by the way. You're just too lazy to turn it off ABC or ESPN and put it on FS1 or Fox or wherever Boise was playing on. Anyway,
I gotta say real quick, I was at a Christmas party.
Oh no!
While we were watching the Heisman, and it was full of Tennessee fans.
Now, where do they stand on this?
2 Texas fans, and we got talking about the college football playoff, this and that. And I tell you what, I had a couple cold pops, and I decided to say, you know what? I said, Texas fans may be one of the softest groups.
Oh, they're bad.
They are bad. And they were, I was like, you guys are in the playoff. I'm not sure what you guys are complaining about. They're like, all year long, everyone was saying we don't belong in the college football playoff because we don't play anybody, this and that. I'm like, I thought that was the whole reason why you got in the SEC. I'm Like, who's saying this about you?
You know who's saying it, Jeff? SEC fans.
I know.
The Tennessee fans. It is a wild bunch. They sit up there. We don't play the Texas don't play nobody. They're playing the same conference as you. So you're eliminating. You're with just that alone. You're saying half the conference is not good. And then Texas fans, you're the 5 seed. All year long, we also heard that. We also heard, the 5 seed's the best spot because they're going to get a home game and then play Boise State. Well, you're not playing Boise State. You're playing Arizona State, who not as good as Boise State. I mean, let's call that what it is. I hope Arizona State. I hope Clemson. I hope every lower seed except for the SEC wins. I hope Ohio. This is going to be the first time in history where I hope Ohio State just smokes Tennessee.
Yeah,
they probably won't, but maybe. And see, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, we got into this back and forth. We started talking about the playoff, this and that. I was like, look, all I'm saying is, you guys get more upset over a hand gesture than any other fan base that I've ever heard of in my entire life. And then that was it. Not me. I've never complained about the horns down, dude.
Didn't your governor, man, try to make a law?
Yeah,
we have governors. Speaking of Ohio State. It wasn't, or not. I don't think it was the governor. Surely the governor wasn't focusing on this. But wasn't there a senator or somebody that proposed a flag planting bill? That's what our government's working on, Jeff. A flag planting bill because our players are too emotionally soft that they can't handle it.
And I don't know. I just had to bring that up. I thought I was taking shrapnel. I was like, all right, we'll see. Everybody's in playoff now. I was like, Genty just got snubbed. If you don't think that he's going to come out, running through a brick wall.
You know what else? I've been thinking about this because everybody's been making the 5 seed. They're acting like is the best route, right, or whatever. Now they're saying Penn State has the easier route, and it's like, well, if you really thought Texas was the 5 and Penn State was the 6, well, they should have an easier route than the 8 or the 9 or the 10. Like, it should be easier. And then if you're going to say, like, right, what is it? Ohio State, Tennessee plays Oregon, right? Is that how it is? So they're going to say, oh, poor Oregon, the 1 seed, they got the. Not really, though, because all year long we also hear how difficult it is for these mighty SEC and Big Ten teams to play 2 really good teams in 2 straight weeks. So now if you're Oregon, you're just going to watch Ohio State and Tennessee beat each other up, and then you're going to play them. Like, I don't know. I'd rather play somebody that just got their ass beat physically.
Very true.
The next week than somebody that had such an easy route. So, I mean, I don't know. It goes both ways. Like, do you want to play? And you're not going to play both of them. You're going to play one of them. So if you truly believe that Penn State is the 6 and better than Ohio State, because that's what the committee's been telling us all year long, they've been saying that, well, then Penn State should have an easier route than Ohio State. So I don't understand. And if you're Boise and you got to play Penn State, who the committee has been telling us is better than Ohio State and Tennessee, then they do have a more difficult route than Oregon because you're only going to play one of them. And if SMU beats Penn State, well, then I don't know. I'm from an era where that would prove that SMU was better than Penn State. But in our world, these people might get up here and SMU could beat Penn State and they'll come up there and say, well, but on a neutral field, they'll be favored. So they're better. We should move them on. Play it again.
That's my favorite argument to these people whenever they start complaining about this team should be ranked. I'm like, why? Because you think so? And like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, because you analyze college football and you know exactly what you're talking about how the SEC is so much more difficult than the Big Ten. Because he was like, the Big Ten is so fraudulent. They're just like it is in the NCAA tournament. I'm like, good God. I'm like, why? Because you think so? Well, maybe. And I'm like, Jesus. I said, just win. I said, stop complaining about where you are. Yeah. Just win your game. I was like, that's why I like Dan Lanning. Like, he's not saying anything. He's not complaining. He's like, look, I don't control this. I can control what I can control. And that's us winning.
Win.
End of story. Just win your games. Everybody's posturing to have the best possible route to the champion. It's like, dude, just win your game.
This 9-3 team is better than this 9-3 team. And again, what does it go back to? It goes back to brand and media and marketing, which is why 9-3 Colorado is all over the news. 9-3 Alabama is all over the news. 9-3 Duke, no mention. 9-3 Syracuse, no mention until they beat Miami.
Yeah.
But then that we'll use that to, as a loss, but we're not going to. What about 9-3 Syracuse? So anyway, we got to talk Army Navy, Jeff.
Yes, we do.
We got more to. We could go on and on about the playoff and the Heisman and stuff. I want to be done with it. I do hope that the Boise State offensive line was like in the weight room immediately after the announcement. Like, linemen they're a spunky bunch now.
Yes, they are.
Especially out there, those Midwesterners, they're wild. So hopefully they were motivated. Hopefully Genty's motivated. He's going to be fresh. Hopefully
Cuthbert says we don't need to talk Army Navy.
Buddy, we do. I not only did I witness a robbery on Saturday, Jeff,
Jeez.
I witnessed a murder on Saturday. I mean, look, Navy just hit Army in the mouth right out the gate. And Army looked like Tulane when Army played them. They just couldn't get it going, and then they got behind, and then the mistakes started happening. I mean, my God, you go from last week where Army 0 turnovers, 0 punts, 0 penalties. They had all those this week. 3 interceptions. And Navy's defense was all over. I mean, they couldn't do anything. Ready for this, Jeff? Army's longest play from scrimmage was 23 yards.
Wow.
They had a 23-yard play, an 18-yard play, and a 12-yard play. That's it. Navy, on the other hand, so what we talk about with the option, 6, 7, 8 yards, 6, 7, 8 yards, big play, 6, 7, 8. Navy did that. 52-yard play, 48-yard play, 31-yard play, 29-yard play, and an 18-yard play. I mean, that along with getting 3 turnovers, that'll win a lot of games for you.
Yeah, I got a theory that at some point, after that Notre Dame win against Navy, Horvath was like, you know what? I'm a little dinged up. I think I'm just going to sit these next couple weeks and get ready for Army, because he came out and looked absolutely phenomenal. 107 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, but had 204 on the ground with another 2. He was running all over the place. They couldn't keep him in the pocket. He was scrambling around. I mean, he looked incredible. And yeah, you mentioned it. That Navy defense showed up. I mean, to force 3 turnovers, just and really all game was putting Army in bad spots they didn't want to be in offensively, and that's what you got to do. And credit to them. But I tell you what, we got to get to this game.
Yeah,
I don't know if hopefully next year maybe we can make it happen. But I mean, just the flyovers, the mark, like all these things, I got to see it in person. I mean, it's just I watched that hype video before the game, and I was like, I'm ready to go. I'd run through damn brick wall right now.
Yeah, well, then, of course, you get the terrible news immediately after the game that Kanye Udo is transferring. See, and this is again where I think a shortened season would solve some of these issues. Because how many of these games in the last couple weeks of the season have you seen go away that you didn't think it was going to go, where it just seemed like a team came out flat, and then immediately after the game, you find out their best players transferring, or I mean, it's a tale as old as time here, Jeff.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Like, again, these issues happen in the NFL with guys that it is a 100%, it is a business, and guys understand that guys are dealing with contracts and free agency and these kind of things. And those guys can't always handle it. And now you're bringing that to the college level where they got all these other things on their plate. You got to think. Now, I don't know, for Army, I don't necessarily know if that's if that's part of it, but man, it's the first time you've seen like a high profile guy from one of the academies in the portal.
Yeah.
They transfer, and you got to do that. That is the thing. You've got to do it before your junior year. Once you go into that junior year, you basically have to sign that you owe the government 5 years of your life post graduation or post, disenrollment from the school. So they can still do it and walk away, with nothing. But if they do it after that, they're going to owe the military 5 years afterwards. So, for him, and that's got to be. So I will say this for Kanye Udo. That conversation with him and his family and the people he cares about and that care about him has got to be NFL or bust at this point, right? Because you do have, you could graduate as an officer in the military, right? You're gonna have like your career's pretty much gonna be set up. Now, if you leave that, it's gotta be he's banking on the NFL. Even though they can't, you can get to the NFL. It's kind of a weird path from the academies now, but it's got to be what he's thinking.
Yeah.
It's got to be about the only thing he's thinking. Now, interested to see when we find out who his agent is, what his agent looks like. Then that might tell us a different story.
Yeah, and I wish him nothing but the best. Phenomenal player. Seems like a great dude. Interested to see where he lands, but Cuthbert in the chat says Monken interviewed for North Carolina and West Virginia during the week. Offensive line coach left for Central Michigan. All the awards, and he said Army just didn't come in with the right mindset. And that, again, we just go back to transfer portal, coaching, movement, interviews, all of it. All of it takes you away from the task at hand, and that's your game.
Jeff, what if Army-Navy was played during the regular season like all the other rivalries were?
Well, that would take away from the
what
game.
happened a couple of weeks ago, wouldn't it have, Jeff?
I'm with you.
No, hey, the other thing I do want to say this because I could speak on it a little bit with Udo is you also don't know what else is going on. He could be in a spot where he's going to have a hard time graduating,
Yeah,
and it might be a situation where it's like, hey, look, I ain't gonna make it 2 more years. So let me get in the portal now because if you leave, if you get, let's say you get kicked out of school or something junior year, or your grades are not good enough and they're going to remove you, you still owe. So then you got to go enlist in the Army, which it's not what you want to do. If that, if your route is I'm going to graduate and be an officer and play some football to, go back and enlist. But so you never know what's going on. But yeah, did not know Monken interviewed for those. Knew about the O-line coach going to CMU, but it sucks, dude. There should be like a window. And I know you can never, even if there is a window, you're still going to be having conversations behind the scenes, right? Because of agents and because of, athletic directors are going to make calls to agents and say, hey, look, we're going to fire this guy. Does your guy want to be interviewed? Even if you had to wait until January to make it happen or December or whatever to make it happen, you still would have that issue. But, it's frustrating. That's the price of success, right? Mm-hmm. You have a good year and then your coach is getting every phone call and your good players are getting every phone call, which is crazy because I was told, Jeff, I don't know if you were told, I was told that these coaches and players and conferences are just not that good. So I don't know why you would want them.
Yeah. It's kind of weird.
I don't know why you would beg them to come to your school to rescue your poverty ass programs. But anyway, hey, bowl games. I could not go, I was going to go to the Salute to Service Bowl in Montgomery, but wife and kids have been sick pretty much all week. I, as the kids say, am built different, Jeff. I didn't get it, but I went to
shoveling down those immunity shots.
Dude, two a day. They're like freaking $3.29. They're high dollar, but health is wealth, Jeff. You gotta make sure you stay healthy. And I'm preparing myself for bowl season. I don't really know if we're supposed to make any announcements of bowl games yet. Definitely be going to a non-playoff bowl game very soon. And then still trying to work on making sure we get the access we need in the Fiesta Bowl to try to make that trip happen. But so anyway, I went to a Christmas party on Thursday night with my work. Wife couldn't go because she was sick at home with the kids. I couldn't justify weeknight and that game was late too. While she was sick, and then sit here and say, hey, by the way, New Year's Eve, I'm spending it with Jeff Murphy and Ashton Genty in the Fiesta Bowl while you're at home. So I couldn't justify all of it. So, but anyway, let's talk about that game. South Alabama, hey, last minute, Gio Lopez, not really opting out, but
he said it was due to injury. Yeah.
Yeah. He's been banged up a lot, but I'm
Jamal Pritchett too, wasn't it?
Yeah, Pritchett too, but I'm going to tell you, Bishop Davenport, he might have earned himself some. See, now here's the situation, right? where I'm all about the portal, right? If Gio Lopez is QB1 in Mobile and Bishop Davenport comes in and plays well, and somebody needs a quarterback and he wants to be QB, like, I'm okay with that at this point, right? What I'm not okay with is the whole entire quarterback room getting in the portal at the same time, looking for, whatever. But anyway, so he played well. Again, big plays. Every touchdown that South Alabama scored was over 20 yards. 3 of them were over 45 yards. So,
and Jeremiah Webb, huge performance, 6 catches, 182 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He looked apart. Devin Voisin looked good. He's always been there. But yeah, you mentioned, Davenport. I mean, had one run where he broke like 3 tackles. That was one of those big runs for a touchdown. Definitely, earned him some, good playing time, good film, something to build off, in the off season. And then, who knows? Who knows what he's going to do? Maybe he does get in the portal. Maybe he stays. And then definitely want to shout out Kentrell Bullock, the running back.
Yep.
That dude's a load now. 130 yards, touchdown.
Well, he's another guy. Bothwell didn't play.
He went to the portal.
And Bullock comes out and balls. And now I know we've been saying this for about 2 years now, but if South can keep most of this core together, they're gonna have a damn good team coming back next year.
Yes, they are.
Really good team. I mean, they were very close this year on multiple occasions, right? They'd come out and they'd look like world beaters, and then the next week they'd kind of lay flat. But they got some pieces. They definitely have some pieces. Who knows what the West is going to look like next year? You got to think Louisiana and that culture will be good. You got to think Troy is going to take another step forward, kind of be back in the mix there. I don't know. Southern Miss. Is Southern Miss in the West? Yeah, are they in the West?
Yeah.
You got to think if
so.
They're bringing 40 guys from Marshall, they'll be in the mix. I mean,
yeah, especially with Huff.
Yeah.
Now I got to bring something up, because Western Michigan's obviously a MAC team. You're seeing NIU, a lot of reports, NIU football only to the Mountain West. Thoughts?
Interesting. I don't particularly care for football only or basketball only type stuff. That's why I can't stand Notre Dame so much. I mean, they do everything in conference except for football. Drives me off the wall, but I don't know. I want regional stuff. That's what I want. I want rivalries. I love that in the MAC, Bowling Green can go to Toledo on a bus and fill half of Toledo Stadium and play a rivalry game. I don't like what we've done in the ACC and things like that, where you're going to have Stanford and Cal playing at 9 a.m. Pacific time because they're in the ACC. Or that's the other thing I've been wondering, with all this stuff in the conferences, like, and this mostly is for, the SEC and the ACC and Big Ten too. Like, they play at these neutral sites. Well, like, the ACC plays in Charlotte. So what are you going to do when Cal makes it?
Yeah.
Like, that ain't neutral, buddy. I like a good on-campus thing. I like a team being able to earn a home game, but now what you have in the ACC is pretty much Clemson, or if one of the Carolina schools makes it, they've got a home field in the ACC. Georgia's got a home game every year in the SEC playing in Atlanta. I don't know. I love a good on-campus game.
Yeah, me too. We'll see. I don't know.
Now, Jeff, you've got the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Memphis, West Virginia. That's a damn good. That's a very underrated matchup here.
Yeah.
Now, again, it's a bowl game, so you never know who's playing, who's coaching, who's doing what. Memphis. I haven't heard a ton about Memphis. Like Hennigan and them guys, are they all going?
I would assume they are. You're talking about one of the biggest NIL payrolls in the country in the Group of 5 in Memphis. So I would assume that if they have any top guys that aren't graduating, they're staying. So if they all play, this is going to be a hell of a matchup.
Yeah, I like this one.
And Memphis finished the season, obviously beating Tulane, looking very good. looking the part, looking like the team that we said before the season was this could be a playoff contender. Now, a couple weeks off, we'll see how that shakes out. But excited for Hennigan, and I want to see him put together, a final, because this is it for him, right?
Yeah, well, surely
Got to be.
I mean, surely it is. The guy's been a starter for 6 years. It seems like.
So yeah, he's a senior.
Yeah, he's a 4-year starter, but
want to see him finish, go out on a high note. They have all the talent possible. So let's get a win against West Virginia.
A lot of people thought West Virginia was gonna be, they had them as a favorite.
Yeah.
In their conference. Was it week 1 or 2 when a lot of people had them we're going to beat Penn State, they thought. So this is a team with a lot of talent. Obviously, it didn't work out. That's why they got rid of their coach. But I will say, so speaking of Rich Rod in West Virginia, did you see Rich Rod at the basketball game at West Virginia?
I didn't.
Well, everybady's cheering for him, but then there's like one fan that stood up and was just hooting and hollering.
Okay,
I
saw something about it.
Stuff. Yeah, and he was basically saying like, you turned your back, like you left West Virginia for Michigan, like kind of calling him out on it. Well, the West Virginia fans are like, oh, this guy should be banned for life, blah, 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 blah. But then somebody, thank God, called out, whoever tweeted that out, somebody called him out and was like, this is what you've been doing on Twitter for Neil Brown's entire career. It's just like blasting him, negative. He's like, at least this guy had the balls to go do it in person. I was like, that's so accurate, right? Like all the energy's high now. So the one guy to have something negative to say, you want that guy kicked off campus. But the minute they lose, everybody's going to be on Twitter talking about what a bad hire it was. Get him out of here. This guy sucks, this and that. It's just, man, again, you got to have like the delusion, and fans like that is what makes you have a good fan base, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like they're going to show up. That's one thing, they're going to show up. They're going to engage. They're going to be vocal, and you need that. But at the same time, it's like, man, tone it down. You can't say one thing on Twitter and then another thing when somebody does the same thing as you, just in the opposite regard.
And in Jacksonville State, I haven't really heard.
Yeah,
I haven't looked, but I haven't heard anything like anybody emerging as a top candidate for that job either.
No, well, early on they kept saying Bill Clark, but that seems to kind of have faded away a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do there.
Interesting.
There's still a lot open.
There is
a lot. I think you kind of see. I think what you'll see too is as different staffs get pulled in a different way. Like you'll see, okay, which coordinator from the P4 got left behind, when his head coach went somewhere else, or which staff, they all get let go, which staff, the coach takes everybody except somebody. Do they promote somebody from within, or do they go? That's what obviously they hired Dan Mullen, but that's sort of what I was thinking with Brennan Marion is, okay, like does Marion go to Purdue with Odom, or does he try to stay and get the promotion within, or does he go elsewhere? I think you'll start seeing coordinators and position coaches like that end up going elsewhere. Jeff, do we have voicemails today?
We do. We got 3.
Well, let's get to those voicemails, and then we'll let you guys Neil Brown to Jacksonville State. Wouldn't that be fun? A little coaching trade.
A little swap.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
A little wife swap.
Yeah, there you go. Remember that show?
Entertaining.
Fantastic. But anyway, let's get to these voicemails. You guys know the number 615-900-4286. It's bowl season now. We have games every night, basically. So let's hear your hot takes and your raw emotion.
Guys, howdy. Timmy down in Texas. Been sitting back in the cut a little bit here, listening, taking a bunch of stuff in with all of the portal activity and the coach movement. I think that I just was listening to the Army-Navy preview show this morning and got to thinking surrounding the discussion of Coach Huff leaving Marshall. I wonder if we all were to go back in time to the week of Marshall versus Ohio State and re-listen to Coach Huff's press conference discussing the NIL opportunities at Marshall's, or at University of Marshall, rather, Hartford University, wherever the hell. But if you go back and listen to how he was talking about their all-you-can-eat biscuits NIL program, I wonder if we were to go back and to listen to that through the lens or through the filter of what we know now about the tumultuous nature of his relationship at Marshall, and if maybe there weren't some subtle clues or not so subtle clues now being dropped by him about their situation at Marshall. Just a thought, but something to chew on. I'm interested to get everybody's reaction to that one. Hope everybody is doing well. Merry Christmas. God bless you, boys. Long live Group of Five. God bless Group of Five guys. Timmy's out. See you, boys.
Appreciate you, Tim.
Ooh,
Merry Christmas to you, by the way, and your family.
I like that little adjustment. Long live Group of Five.
Long live. I do like
good.
it. I think you're spot on, actually. I think you can go back throughout probably at least the last year and look at snippets and sound clips where he is taking subtle shots at the administration. I had a conversation with somebody, source in that world, and basically saying that Marshall just promised them a lot, said they were going to do a lot of things, and didn't happen. They've been at odds for a while.
Yeah, I think you could look at a lot of places with stuff like that. I mean, some of them have been a lot less subtle, but you look at Trailer at UTSA. I mean, It comes out every week almost and has something to say. And I think what they're doing is they're not necessarily, like I think Huff was probably almost making a mockery of, hey, Ohio State's giving their quarterback $1.5 million and we're giving our guys some biscuits. I think that's kind of what he was like alluding to. Like, what do you want us to do? How do you want me to keep guys? How do you want me to get guys? And I think a lot of that, when we talk to these coaches, a lot of them have said at a number of places. And look, this is one of the reasons, even outside of NIL, this is one of the reasons we started doing the Group of Five guys, right? Because you see a lot of places that their administration or their athletic director or their president or whoever just doesn't quite get it. And they want these coaches to win without providing them the resources that the other coaches that do win are getting. And so I think listen close when all these coaches are coming out and saying stuff about what they might need or what somebody else has that they don't have, as you might think it's an excuse, and it is, but it's a legitimate one.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say on it is, you see these administrations, these presidents, and they'll go out and talk about all the good and great that they've done over the last 10, 15 years, how big their endowment is. They've done this and they've done that on campus, and it's like, okay, that's all great, and it's all part of your job as a president or whatever. But what about this? Because this has been underserved for a long time. And when you're sitting there in the media saying, oh, I support my basketball team, or I support my football team, or this, that, and the other, but yet the action's not there year in and year out. And you got a coach that's been there and was like, hey guys, like, you hired me to do a job, but you're putting handcuffs on me. I'm still winning. Now do what you said you were going to do. Like, don't go to the papers and don't go to the media and say you've done all these great things, but yet, we're not where we want to be in athletics, but yet you're not putting in the funds and resources. It's bullshit. So
Sure is.
All right, let's get to our next one.
Hey boys, this is Dan Rocketman Savage of the Midnight Blue and Gold Launchpad podcast. Just want to put a message out to all the fans that may or may not be going to a bowl game. My Rockets, they've kind of had a rough year, but I'm going to give you a little analogy here. It's like you're in Vegas and you hit early on the trip, aka beat Mississippi State. And then by the end of the trip, you're beaten down and you're getting ready to leave Vegas and you're at the airport and you win some free play. You win $1,000 in free play and you're like, damn, we got a chance to make it all back here. I'm going to do some big spins. I'm going to go to the slot machine. I'm going to do $25 spins. And you got a chance to come back. And you hit a major on a big machine. Now, you still lost money on the trip, but, you did something good enough at the end of your trip where you think you might come back. That's what it's like for Toledo's bowl game against Pitt. It's the second Power 5 team they're playing this year, and it's a chance to at least put a better taste in your mouth going into the off season. The MAC, it's tough. We have one home bowl game a year. You go down Sun Belt country for most of your bowl games. You go out west, play Mountain West teams. This is a chance to show out and at least get that good taste in your mouth going into the off season for the Rockets. So Toledo fans, you got to show up. And for all bowl teams all across the G5, if you got a game within 3-4 hours of a drive, go and support your team. You might not have the best year. You can't all be undefeated. Can't all have a Boise State type year. But at least go and support them because it means a lot to those kids. It means a lot to those programs. And Toledo has a chance to do something we haven't done in a really long time, knock off 2 Power 5 teams, Power 4 now. I just think it's a good message, Leave Vegas with a good taste in your mouth. Go Rockets. Go Group of 5 guys.
Appreciate you, Rocket, man. Spot on. And that's the Game Above Sports Bowl on December 26th. Pitt versus Toledo. That could be a good one.
Jeff, that little hypothetical that he just gave reminds me of our trip to Toledo. I think he was taking a page out of your book.
Oh man, I wish
I
hit something on the way out. That was the only difference there.
Yeah, those bowl games. I mean, we talk about it relatively often. It kind of gives you some momentum going into the offseason. He's exactly spot on that. Like, you kind of have a bad taste. Now, if you go and lose your bowl game, it's going to make that bad taste even worse.
Yeah,
if you go and win it, it kind of softens the blow a little bit and then gives you some momentum going into the offseason with recruiting or portal or any of that stuff, or just kind of keeping the fan base engaged.
Well, especially a win over a Pitt team.
Yeah.
Like that's a big brand, especially up there. Big win. Go out there and handle business. Go support those guys if you're able to make the trip. I know day after Christmas can be tough.
It's tough.
But I'll take the toys. It's kiddies unwrapped. Throw a jacket on. Go up there.
Make it a Christmas family tradition that you go see the bowl game. I mean, you got to think about Thanksgiving weekend. How many people that's their Thanksgiving tradition?
Mm-hmm.
Big rivalry game. I'm trying to convince my wife that we have a New Year's Eve tradition. It's going to the Fiesta Bowl. So far, I've been unsuccessful in doing that. But
yeah.
What can you do?
All right. Well, let's keep it rolling. Our last one, Terry Johnson.
Hey, Group of 5 guys, Terry Johnson calling back. I left a voicemail a little bit ago, but it fumbled on my words. But just wanted to say, Saturday, Army, Navy, I'm not really excited about that, even as a Navy veteran. I know that's like a blasphemous thing to say, but I'm just honestly never been excited about that game. Just 2 service academy teams running on each other. And the score is going to be like 5-3. Not really excited about it. I know this is like the best Army-Navy game we've had in a while as college football fans, but I'm just honestly probably going to skim it. I think Army's going to blow out Navy. That's what I think. If you're a Navy vet listening to this, I'm sorry. I just call it how it is. I'm a UL fan, not really a Navy fan, so forgive me. Anyway, I see that Marshall has like a ton of guys in the portal. 20 plus. Most likely, I saw that they're probably going to have to cancel their game with in the Independence Bowl for safety reasons. But yeah, man, NCAA needs to get their heads out of their asses and do something about this transfer portal bullshit. Because if they're going to be losing money and players can't play and guys can't play their last game, Army, if it sucks, Army cannot play their last game of their football season because the adults in the room don't know when to put a stop on the transfer portal or change the rules, and if they lose money and they can't play this bowl game, that's money out of the ESPN's pocket, out of the bowl season pocket, and, it's just something that they got to deal with. But I think it's horrible. I feel for Marshall fans. It sucks. I feel like, Marshall, and Huff, they were both parties that could have figured out something for, a contract, and they both didn't want to work together, so that's kind of on both of them. But yeah, man, I hate it for Army and for Marshall fans that's what it's most likely got to head to. But anyway, just wanted to get that off my chest. Nothing really else going on. Excited to play UL playing TCU in a bowl game. Best bowl game opponent we've had in a while. Really excited. We already have a couple receivers and a running back in the portal, so we're gonna be down a few weapons, but I think it could be a good game. And hopefully Ben Wooldridge, I think he might be coming back. He might be getting over his injury. So we just haven't had a good luck with quarterback injuries the past 3 seasons. But yeah, excited for the bowl game, excited for the opponent. And hopefully we can at least make it close. Who knows? No matter what, we'll always be ranked too high. God bless Group of 5. God bless Group of 5 guys. Go Cajuns.
Well, Terry, I would say your assessment was wrong. Maybe.
Terry's had a tough time this season, hasn't he? No, but he had a great season with the Cajuns, though.
They did. And that is a big bowl game. The New Mexico Bowl against TCU. 10-3 Louisiana against 8-4 TCU. It's a good matchup.
It's a good game. I haven't seen a ton about TCU guys opting out or anything like that either. I gotta say, if I'm who's the sponsor of the Independence Bowl? Who's the title sponsor on that?
Give me a second.
Sorry, Jeff. Radiance Technology. Is that what that one is?
I think it used to be. Let me see.
I can't never keep them.
They've changed. They change
all the time.
Yeah, Radiance Technologies.
Spot on. Okay, so if I'm the chief marketing officer of Radiance Technologies, or if I'm on the bowl committee of the Independence Bowl, and I've got a matchup between Army and Marshall, who are 2 conference champions, who are 2 relatively large brands, especially for the Group of 5, especially Army, with a nationwide sort of following, with enlistments and Army bases and stuff like that. I mean, I'm pissed here. I'm upset, and I think some of these sponsors and these big companies, that's going to start to be a trend, right? Because you ain't no telling how much you got to pay to be the title sponsor of one of these bowl games. And when you get a matchup that's one of the better ones, you're excited about, and then a week before the game or whatever it is, a team opts out. I mean, I think it's kind of like this. Again, all of this stuff to me is very similar. It's like if I'm a collective or if I'm a big donor and I give money to some kid to come play and then he doesn't play or he opts out, like same thing. I'm kind of pissed. I feel like I've wasted some money here. And so I think you're going to start seeing some stuff like this happen, or you're going to have a commitment from the team that they play. And then the other side of it is, who it really sucks for? It sucks for the 9th or 10th offensive lineman that doesn't get in very often, but is going to start this game. And now he doesn't get to play at all. And I bet you, like, if you ask those players, even if there's freaking 25 of them left on the roster, they'd play. Yeah, screw it, man. We'll play. We'll get our ass kicked. Who cares? Right? Let us go. That's what the bowl games are, right? Let us go. Let us get some stuff. Let us do some cool. Let us. I mean, I don't know what they got going on in Shreveport, Louisiana. A lot of potholes on the interstate going around there. I can vouch for that. But surely they're gonna have a good time. Surely they're gonna get to go out, kind of one last hoorah with the boys.
That's it. Compete.
Go out a couple nights a week, have some drinks. You kind of almost get to hang out with your coaches for the first time versus them being strictly your coach. Hang out with another team, right? I mean, how cool were you? You were gone already, but how cool was it for us? We got to go hang out with some of the Navy guys when we went to the Armed Forces Bowl in 2012. It's like, a whole different perspective.
Yeah.
Of, and that's where you like, for me, right? At work, people that have a career can relate to this. You talk to somebody that works your same job at a different location, right? And you do y'all do this? Like, is it like this at y'all's place too? Same thing, right? You get to talk to the Army guys are going to be like, do y'all have to march around? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. It just sucks. It sucks for the kids, number one, and then it sucks for the people that are forking over all kinds of money to make these games happen and go planning and scouting. And we're going to get a chance to interview a director of a bowl game here this week and talk about the selection process. And I'm going to have to ask them, like, what happens if one of these teams opts out a week before? Then what? What's the contingency plan?
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I hate where we've gotten in college football. I mean, I know, hell, Jeff, it was 12 years ago now. Well, if we made any bowl game, we were fired the hell up.
Jacked.
You
get some gifts. You get to go spend a few extra days in a city somewhere, have a good time, hang out with your boys. They ain't nothing better.
Put up in a nice hotel for like a week.
Yep.
I mean, I still run around wearing that Fossil watch we got from that one bowl game.
The GoDaddy Bowl.
The Beats headphones and a TV. I mean, you got all kind of stuff.
Better gifts.
You basically get a Christmas
bowl than we did at the GoDaddy Bowl.
You say what now?
Y'all's gifts were way better at the Armed Forces Bowl than ours was. The GoDaddy Bowl.
Yeah. See, I didn't get to go to that was my first walk on year. I didn't get to go to the GoDaddy Bowl, so I know I didn't get that leather bag you guys all got. But hey, is that it for voicemails, Jeff?
That's it.
That's it for the show, guys. We should have 2 interviews dropping for you this week. One's going to be with the executive director of the Cure Bowl down in Orlando on Friday. And then one is going to be with Austin Cochran of Rivals.com telling us how the hell they rank these players, especially these guys that are not the easy, obvious 5-star guys. So both of those interviews probably dropping this week. We'll probably have one drop tomorrow, one drop Thursday. And then we will be back Wednesday morning. We're going to talk about the Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl and then kind of preview what we've got going on the rest of the bowl season. Make sure if you're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the 5-star review button, share it with your family and friends. Download the Varsity app for free. Listen to the show on there. Make sure you hit follow on all the social platforms at Group of 5 Guys. Long live the Group of 5. God bless the Group of 5 Guys. We're out of here.